Baruch Halevi, Rabbi B from Soul Centered. I want to talk to you today about an ongoing conversation I've been having with y'all for a very long time, and it's because I counsel people all day, every day who go through the same thing. And that is when you are in grief. I do all types of counseling. I'd say lots of people come to me for grief, but all types of loss and transitions, but grief is the big one because we all lose loved ones. Everybody we know and love will die, and we need to face our grief proactively, to take it head on. And so when that happens to us, to take it head on, to be proactive, we have to develop our own resources, our own tools, and not allow other people to tell us what is not, what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. That's the conversation we've been having for a long time, right? Ariella and I did a podcast a while back called "Don't Should on People in Grief." Don't should on people. Don't should on yourself. Should. There are very few shoulds when it comes to grief. We have this crazy idea that it's like somehow linear, that Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross said there are stages of grief and you go through these stages. She never, ever meant that they are steps out of hell. She never meant that one stage is complete and you move on to the next. She never meant for them as stages. She meant for them more as the ingredients that are involved in the journey through grief. The poor woman spent the rest of her life after coming out with that formula really saying it's not a formula. And so there is no formula. There is no one way. There is your way. It was your relationship with your loved one. There never was, is, or will ever be somebody like your loved one. And there never was, is, or will be a relationship like yours with them. And so starting there, but I can't, and I do this for a living. I've done 500 funerals. I counseled thousands of people. I have never once seen a formula. Everybody's got a fingerprint. Everybody's got a soul print. Your relationship has its own soul print. And so you must honor it and process it and move through it on your time frame in your own unique way. But moving through it, right, is the point. I hear over and over again, I'll make the top 10 worst things I hear said to people, even well-intentioned, but hurtful, even destructive things that are said to people. The shoulds are up there, right? You should not do this, you should do that. But one of the big shoulds specifically is you should move on. Come back to what I said. I didn't say you will move on after the death of a loved one. I said you will move through your grief and you will move forward in your life, or you can, and you should, I'll say that loosely, move forward in your life. But that is not the same as moving on. I say this to people over and over again. You shouldn't move on. You'll never move on. Even if you wanted to, how are you going to move on? How are you going to move on from your deceased husband, your spouse, your child, your parent? What does that mean to move on? I can't tell you the look of relief that comes to a person when I say, not only was the person who told you that you should move on wrong, it's not possible, and you never will. Now you're going to say, how can you say that to somebody in grief? Because again, I distinguish between moving forward, moving towards a horizon, moving forward with purpose. And that does not mean leaving behind. I sort of likened it to the difference between driving a car and looking through the windshield versus using the rear view mirror to go forward, right? Moving on is constantly looking in the rear view mirror, feeling like you're leaving your loved one back there. But what if they're riding shotgun? What if you're living is their living? Because they do want and need you to live your life, to move forward in your life. But if you think that they want you to move on or that you can move on, forget about it. The dead don't want us to move on and forget about them. Nobody wants to be forgotten. It is a primal need. I can deal with the idea and the reality of dying. I think about it. I meditate upon it. Does it scare me? It does scare me at times. I wake up sometimes scared, but what scares me is being forgotten, being replaced, being expendable. I want my children and my wife to move forward in their life when that day comes that I am not physically here, but I also want them to carry me forward. We can talk more about what that means, but that is a purpose. That is a mission. Not only does it free them up to live their life, to go forward in joy, but it gives them a sacred duty, a charge. I have seen it over and over again. If you want to truly bless your loved ones, then you have this conversation with them while you are living about, when that time comes and I do die, here's what I want from you, and here's what I want for you. And you instill with them this mission, this charge to carry you forward, to live, to love, to go out and find joy. They don't serve you, the dead. They don't serve the living by being stuck in the past, unable to move forward. But we don't serve the bereaved, those who are in grief, by telling them to move on. Because the truth of the matter is you can't. And somebody who says that has never lost a loved one, not really, or certainly not dealt with it. Because there's not a day that's gone by in 15 years, excuse me, that I haven't thought about my father. And for a while, I was stuck. I could not move forward. It took me months and years to begin the journey moving forward, but I did when I was ready. And when I did move forward, it was about carrying my father, carrying his legacy, setting down some of the darkness and the pain and the anger that I felt and the hurt and all of that. Yeah, putting that down. Move on from the darkness and the things that confine you and constrict you and make your life smaller and keep you from living. But carry on what I call the fire, the good stuff, right? The essence of who he was, of who your loved one was. Carry that forward in your life, and it is like fuel in that engine of that vehicle that you're driving, as you no longer need to look in the rear view mirror, because what was left behind there was needed to be left behind there, but your loved one is riding shotgun by your side, and I believe that deeply. We'll have another conversation on your loved one's spirit with you, but regardless of what you believe on that front, drive your vehicle of this life forward towards the horizon, carrying them with you, moving forward in your life, and giving yourself permission to never move on. I'm, again, Baruch Levi, Rabbi B. You can learn more about myself and Ariella at mysoulcenter.org. Get all of our podcasts, all of our videos, and thank you for the privilege of getting to share some of these thoughts with you. Until the next time, Shalom, Salam, Namaste. Peace.